So the battle has begun with the two sides clashing with all of their forces, and you know this isn't going to be the end-all be-all here. There's going to be something that either interferes, one side may have to retreat, something like that, but you know this is going to be a pretty insane battle. And I did make a video on last week's episode. I did enjoy last week's episode. I thought kind of really see the true Grail War kind of start out. Battles taking place, master versus master, servant versus servant. That's always a fun thing to watch, but there really wasn't too much for me to talk about, and I really don't actually have too much to talk about with this episode either, but I think if I can kind of combine some aspects of the two, I think we'll have enough here to discuss. And one thing I really like with Fate is when we have early stage battles, because early stage battles are very different to the final battles we see at the end of a Fate season, because you are a master and you have a servant, and when you're in like the early stages where there's still multiple masters and multiple servants left, you really have to think more complex about how you're going to take out the situation, because if you're in the final battle, if there's only one master left and one servant left, you can put your servant or the master itself in the worst situation, and if the servant dies, it's not a big deal because you would still have a chance at succeeding. Whereas in the early stages, you can't risk your servant and you can't risk your master that much. And that's why it ultimately becomes a draw between Mordred and the other faction there, because in last week's episode, which carried over kind of a thing, because essentially, like, you can't risk that, because, sure, possibly, Mordred could have been defeated. It was very unlikely. Archer really, like, realizes that. Like, there's no way, with these wounds, I'm probably going to lose. So you have to retreat in that sense, and I really like that, because a lot of times you would just see an enemy, like, they're just going to clash nonstop, and they're not really going to think about it. That's why I like Fate, because as the series progresses, always, you have to kind of think, what are masters and servants willing to risk in this battle? Because as it gets closer to the end, as less masters and servants are around, that's when the risk gets a little bit bigger and bigger and bigger until it's the final battle kind of a thing. So I liked their battle with Mordred and everything like that. The Jack the Ripper stuff was awesome there. I mean, the only thing I'll mention with Jack the Ripper is I want to keep this all spoiler-free as possible for people who have no idea of the source material, but there is one line I want people to pay attention to with Jack the Ripper's dialogue, and that is when she says "we" a lot. Just pay attention to that and try to theorize things on that, and it'll help you going forward with this series. But I really did enjoy seeing this battle kind of start up, because literally it seems like I think it's the Black faction if I'm not mistaken, it seems to be a little outnumbered in one sense because they do have less servants, but they do have the Berserker of Red on their side. So it's a matter of how this battle is going to kind of go down, which I actually am a little fuzzy on this battle. I do know some aspects of it, but I'm actually a pretty decent amount fuzzy on how this is going to go. So for me, like a lot of anime originals, there's going to be a lot of like new content for me, or just kind of the realization of like, oh, I completely forgot this was going to happen. So I'm pretty excited for next week because I am a little fuzzy on the details, but it's going to be pretty damn cool. And you know there's going to be some crazy shit happening. I mean, we see Ruler get a vision about something with the Shiro who's on the Red faction, if I'm not mistaken here. So she knows there's something that she needs to connect with this guy for some reason, and that's going to be really cool. And some of that realization and kind of like revelations happens with the viewers and everything like that when they realize what's going on here. And I think it's pretty solid. Like, not all the characters in Fate Apocrypha are that amazing in my opinion, but they do have, I think, some of the strongest servants and masters. It feels more like quality over quantity, even though there is more masters and servants in this Fate in terms of any other anime as of late. I feel like the quality servants outshine a lot of the other servants from past Fates. They're not like the best, but I think Ruler, I think Jack the Ripper, I think Mordred, things like that. There is some really solid servants, and of course Mordred's master and things like that. There's some really solid masters as well. I think Fate's doing a pretty solid job overall. Like, the past couple of episodes haven't been amazing, jaw-dropping, or just like, this is the best thing ever, but they've been pretty damn solid and pretty damn fun to watch, and I think next week's episode is going to blow a lot of the episodes out of the water. If they do what I remember, and also because it's so unexpected, I think they're going to do some pretty awesome things with it. But overall, like, I've been pretty impressed with what A1's doing. Like, I'm not an A1 hater. Like, there are those people who think everything A1 does is trash, even though they have amazing classic series that have happened. But yes, they do a lot of light novel trash, but I think they're doing a pretty damn good job. Like, I really wouldn't want to see this series done with any other studio. I wouldn't want to see it with Ufotable. I wouldn't want to see it with Shaft, even though Shaft's doing a Fate next year, which I'm incredibly excited for because I know nothing about that Fate. I am really impressed with what A1's doing. I think overall the pacing has been pretty solid. There has been some translation issues. There has been a couple of minor production quality issues. I think A1's doing a really good job, but really, the main thing that's going to be most impressive is if the second half of this series is actually as consistent as the first half, because it is a two-core. Only time will tell with how this will actually go down with the second half there. But overall, I actually have pretty good faith with A1 with this series after 7 episodes. I'm feeling pretty confident with what they're doing and how they're handling this overall. I thought this was a good episode. It was solid. It wasn't amazing. It wasn't bad. It was good overall. And that's really all we really needed for at this point in the series here, because I feel like after they kind of got over the bumps that the series did have in the earlier episodes, I feel like they're staying pretty consistent at just trying to be a good anime, and that's fine enough for me. I mean, we've had some pretty bad Fate anime, and we've had some amazing Fate anime. This, I don't think, is ever gonna live up to something like Fate Zero from what I know of the source material and things like that, but still, I think as long as we get good Fate anime, I'm happy at the end of the day. But overall, this was fun. The battles was interesting. The character interactions were pretty good, and I think next week's episode is going to be pretty damn hype. But let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. What was your favorite moment, and how are you feeling about Jack the Ripper? I know there are some naysayers for people because she is a child, but Jack the Ripper being a child actually plays into her backstory amazingly well. Yes, her outfit is... her outfit's pretty fucked up, I'll give you that. But her actual character and backstory is amazing once you see it. But I'm interested for people who don't know anything about Jack the Ripper, how you're feeling about her character. So let me know, and before you leave, smack that like button to show your support. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. So until next time, everyone, please take care, and have a good one.